It comes down to.
We're already off to it, so I'm just going to start recording.
Well, okay, hold on. Well, let me get the tripod set up.
Yeah,
or not
whatever.
set up, but let me get you guys on the tripod. This
You're
isn't
good,
where
yeah.
I'm sitting.
You do it.
See, I already feel like an old
We'll
man
fix it
because I
in
have
post.
no idea how to fucking work this stuff.
We were wondering if you were going to use your phone or if you had like your gaming setup to do this, like the chair and all that jazz.
I got a gaming chair and I don't like how it looks, but I love how it feels.
Well,
Mm-hmm.
I can't
It's
break
unmuted.
fix.
I mean, they don't like racing on it. Like, I don't play any racing game. But I had
like duct tape.
But I had my last chair for maybe close to a decade. It was ridiculous.
I don't know. I'm just standing in a corner of my dark, awful room. It's fine.
Trent, do you have your phone locked from rotating?
Yeah, I do. Yep. Good call. Well, I have to see. I don't know where I'm going. Okay, here we go.
Okay, Zoomer.
What'd you say, a Zoomer?
Okay, Zoomer.
This guy coming out the gate leaves full time.
I get a couple free passes. I get to give you a Saturday off once in a while now.
Yeah, dude, thank you for that. I have off this Saturday, and I just bought a PS5.
Oh, there goes your sleep. That'll be great.
Yeah, it was funny because yesterday at work, Jeff comes back from vacation, and he just goes, "What's up, Trent? I haven't seen you all week." And he's just like, "Anything new?" And I was just like, "I bought a PS5." And then on our way out of the door, he goes, "Hey, Trent, make sure you get some sleep tonight." And last night I was up till midnight. So totally worth it though.
Totally is. Yeah.
So I will be up on Saturday like all day. I'm gonna get up as if I do have to get ready for work, but then just 6 a.m. gaming.
Which is really, I've done that a few times and it's quite nice. It's like a nice zen time.
It's wonderful. I absolutely love it. Yeah. So I'm gonna get right down to it then. I'm just gonna game, coffee. I have zero plans to leave the apartment on Saturday. So I will be good.
Excellent.
Hell yeah.
That's great.
On that note, I started being more active, trying to be more active on Twitter again. So I redid one of the profiles for the podcast project we're doing. And I saw that I was following you because you made up most of my feed because I wasn't following anybody. So what's going on with those projects for you?
So it's primarily just Vanguard at this moment. I think maybe last we talked, you had heard that I was with Unite, but I'm now with Vanguard. And that was a different project in itself. I mean, it's more of it's not a startup so much anymore because they're already 3.5 years in. But you know me, I mean, you guys know me pretty well at this point. Like it had so much potential and it still has potential. You know, I ended up reaching out to the owner and I got on the board of directors. I'm the operations director at this moment, but I tried steering them into the right direction, trying to help them just run more like a business. The idea is to essentially get everything running within the company. That way, if somebody in either myself or the owner were to take a vacation for a week, everything with the company is going to be fine. It's going to run itself. We have the right people in the right place. And to get to that point, we needed to do a rebrand because our current logo at that time was, how do I say it nicely? I guess there is no way, childlike. You know, it was something that you see in a cartoon. It's not a professional looking logo, or I guess professional. So I ended up getting the board of directors and everyone to agree to, okay, hey, let's do this rebrand. We dish out $400, and I'm going to name drop them because, hold on, can I swear on this or no?
Yeah, absolutely. Whoa.
I'm going to name drop this piece of shit because he still hasn't fucking paid us back. Mike Goldfield at Goldfield on Twitter. You owe us $400, you scamming piece of shit. So we pay him. He tells us initially, okay, I'm going to get it done. I'm going to start working on some drafts tonight. Starts working on those drafts. And well, as far as we're concerned, he started working on the drafts. We have no proof. Then he goes and says, hey guys, I'm going to have them done within a week now. Like from when he messaged me, it was a week later, he would have them done. So I'm like, cool. That week comes by, that first deadline set by him. I'm pretty excited. I give him to the weekend just because I want to make sure he has enough time to fully do anything else he needs to, he has that time. Well, I message him, no response. Okay, no worries. Message him on Monday. Hey, what's up, dude? You got anything for us? Finally messages me and goes, hey, sorry, they're almost done. Looks incredible right now. I'm just going to finish up some touches and I'll send it off to you guys. Awesome. Hopes are up. Okay, he had to push it back just a little bit further. We're thinking maybe another week. No worries. We're in no rush, and we'd rather a designer take their time when it comes to doing the logo. That way they do it right. Well, new deadline comes, nothing, no message from him. I send him a second message, nothing. Send him a third message, nothing. Now I'm just like, what the hell? Then I get a message from him and says, hey, sorry, I've been sick with the flu. Okay, I didn't believe it, but I gave him the benefit of the doubt. I told him, hey, why don't you just focus on getting better, rest, get yourself ready. We're in no rush. Just as soon as you can send them over, please do. No response back after that. At that point, then I was kind of giving it every 2 weeks. I was messaging them and I was getting no responses. At that point, that was the last communication I had with them for about 2 months. He hadn't updated me about anything. I'm sitting there. I've got the board of directors now. Yo, where's this logo? Where's this logo? We have a marketing team helping us, or helped us, get everything set when it came to the marketing standpoint for what to put out in terms of graphics, how to make everything within the Photoshop or Adobe Illustrator, whatever we're using, to get the scripts kind of right. Just have a simple branding, clean across the entire board, even down to the merchandise. Well, they're waiting on me. I have nothing, and I look like that guy, right? I look like the guy that everybody relied on, and I have nothing to show for, right? I was this big talk, this guy that people have only heard of, and they're like, shit, okay, he's taking control. Like, he's in the driver's seat, and I have nothing for them. So it hurts my reputation in the end as well. And I stuck my neck out for Goldfield because initially nobody really wanted to go with him. But it's because I worked with him in the past, and his current reputation that he has, or had, because we kind of ruined it. He was a prolific designer within the community and within the industry. Like, people respected his work. So I thought $400 was a bargain. This guy could be charging way more and people would still pay him. But missing deadlines, nothing comes to it. We finally ask him, hey man, we're going to go elsewhere. Can we just get a refund? We appreciate your time. Like, we're just going to go elsewhere. We understand that if your passion's not in this, that you're not necessarily going to give it 100%, and you're not going to work with us. You're going to be working against us. And that's not what we're looking for. So it was going to be a smooth relationship. He would send the money back. We'd pay somebody else, maybe even save some money too. Well, he doesn't send the refund. We're waiting. I tell my boss, I go, no. I said, give it another week, and like, give it to next week Friday. Give it to then we can put out an official statement. We put out the official statement way earlier because my boss was just fed up. And I tried. I really was trying, for Goldfield's sake. I was trying just to save him, but nothing came from it other than it got a bunch of publicity, right? We put out that statement, called him out. Basically what I told you guys, we wrapped that all up into a statement and we put it out there. And we tagged a bunch of big name designers, and he messaged me then. He had messaged me and was like, yo, whoa, that was really uncalled for. What the hell? Like, blah, blah, blah. Like, I was almost done and I was going to send you everything. I'm sorry it took a little longer, but not anymore. Like, this is ridiculous. Delete the tweet and we can continue talking. And I go, hey, thanks for reaching out. No, thank you. We just want you to send us a refund. Once you send us our money back, we'll redact our statements and we'll make sure everything is crystal clear, and we'll apologize, for anything, and we'll explain it fully, full transparency. We're not going to hide anything. Well, these guys, or well, him in specifically, not the board, but he was just up my tree, coming at me almost in a hostile like manner for no reason. Now, I don't know what happened. I think ideally he spent the money, right? Couldn't send it back. He told me he had quit his job and he was starting a new one, but maybe that was a lie, and he had scammed us out of 400. Well, after we put out the statement, we had other smaller companies also reaching out to us and saying, hey, we had the same experience. Come to find out, it's about 7 to 9 people long, or 9 companies long, where he has scammed straight up. He has not given them the money back. He has not sent them designs. And if you make noise, he does nothing. He keeps your money. He keeps the logo, sends you nothing. Otherwise, apparently, he'll take anywhere from 8 months to a year to do it, right? We definitely didn't have that much time. We were thinking at most 2 months, at most. And we had gone on almost 3.5 months of no logo. So it was fucking insane. But in the end, we rebranded. We got a different logo, which I have mixed emotions. I'm on the board of directors, so it's a great logo, boys. But I mean,
let's pause here for a second. Let's pause because there's a lot there.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
So
let's unpack.
Yes. Right. Seriously. So I got a couple questions.
Okay.
What's that, Michael?
I'll look up the logo because I remember seeing it and I was like, that didn't sound, because I hadn't heard like you switching the projects. I was like, that doesn't seem like the last time I saw the logo.
Right. Okay. So you're really high up in this eSports company, is this kind of thing common in the industry right now? Is there lots of beef like this between different types of professionals when it pertains to esports, like professional gaming and their business? Like, do you find that, or are you seeing that this is kind of a weird spike just for you guys? What do you think about all this?
Honestly, if I could, I would say it's honestly a 50-50 deal. There are certain people within the esports industry that are blacklisted in a way that people don't do business with, they don't work with, because they're bad for business, right? They bring bad PR, and it's almost like if you didn't pick them up, it would have been a lot easier. Or if you didn't work with them, it would have been a lot easier, because now you have to do the most. And
not just athletes and gamers, right? But you're talking about someone who isn't, maybe he's a gamer, but like this is a graphic designer, like not even a person in the industry, really.
Yeah, absolutely. Kind of like an indirect, member of, they're kind of just of a marketing world, if you will. But I guess the esport designers, they did kind of find their niche, and they did do something a little bit to stand out. A lot of the logos that have been made, are made by individuals like Goldfield, and who have such a long lasting. But staying on topic with it, it's more common to see it with like players and coaches and all that. But like you're saying, and what you're referring to, that's the 50-50, part. There are certain partners and sponsors that people don't do business with anymore. There's companies, I'm not going to name drop them, because I personally don't have beef with them, but there's some companies out there that have been found to be straight up, making sexual innuendos towards females and saying stuff on stream that's just out of line.
Oh,
The bigger guys, it feels like the bigger guys, like of the top, if you will, it feels like they already know that this is how Goldfield is, because none of them reacted to it. None of them said anything. And it's almost like not saying something is almost like getting them in trouble. Like, what do you guys know? Clearly you guys have seen this before, and it's nothing new to you. But the fact that they're staying quiet tells me a little bit of something, and it kind of rubs me the wrong way. So a little bit of a tangent there, Matt, on answering that question, but it's 50-50 hit or miss. It's very common between business, the organizations to the designer. That's very common. It just hasn't happened in such a while that's been big enough. I don't even think this is big enough, to make all of esports difference.
Sure. Yeah. Because I mean, B2B stuff like this is age old. There's always been this kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
The oldest written thing ever. Like it's a clay tablet with like the markings of like Babylon or that side of the world. Is a complaint about a business. It's like you sold me, like you overcharged me for sheep or something like that. It's really hilarious. But yeah, the oldest written document in the world is a business complaint.
Yeah, it's legit. Oh yeah, like I'm pretty sure it's like the sheep didn't produce a set or something.
Right, something like that.
It was hilarious. Yep.
So what do you feel, just based on your experience? And we'll dive into your bio. Right now we're starting in the present. I kind of want to hit to the beginning of you, so to speak, and then bring you up to this situation, or this the position, not the situation, the position that you hold right now. But as far as what you've done in the business sector, and it's been a few things, what should be happening to make sure these kinds of road bumps are smoother or don't happen at all?
We're kind of breaking up a little bit there.
yeah.
That's all right.
Did anybody else drop? Because you two dropped for me for a little bit.
Oh yeah, that it did drop for a second.
Good. Is Trent still landscape for you? Because it switched to profile in my camera.
Oh yeah, it did. Yeah. But I switched to my network instead of Wi-Fi, because Wi-Fi is spotty right now. So I should be good now.
I think we might have lost him again.
Oh really? Okay.
He's frozen on my screen.
Same. Yeah. That's too bad. These things do happen.
How's it possible? He's got a gaming rig with high-end Wi-Fi.
We should really get sponsors so that when these things happen, we can talk about our sponsors. We need commercial content.
Who makes the? You back?
Yeah, is everything good?
It just seemed like you got for a bit there. But your landscape again, or your profile's to landscape. So I don't know if your phone like switched on default or something. I don't know if it makes a difference in editing. We'll find that out when we get there.
We'll fix it in post. It's fine.
Oh, and then there we go. Perfect. Which
me.
But I am also the editor.
Yeah, so
don't worry,
I kind of want to cater to Michael.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely, you should.
Yeah, Michael, this whole lighting and tripod and angle is all for you, man, for when you're editing.
I like editing. It's just I found out with our first couple episodes, if it goes over an hour, it's more than I want to do for a single episode.
Yeah. I mean, that's fair.
Yeah, that's a real thing.
That's absolutely fair.
Okay, so did you? I'll sum up the question a little easier because I kind of ramble when I ask questions like this. You've done a few different things. You've had a few different positions. You've been all over the map as far as business in a good way. So you've seen these kinds of problems before with miscommunications and people being shitty or just shady in general, hiding stuff, not doing business, whatever it is. what do you feel needs to happen just in the business world in general, or in esports, like whatever, however niche you want to get, to kind of clear up these miscommunications so that the industry isn't so embarrassing in a way?
Wow, that's actually a really, really good question. I think just to more professionalize the entire industry, like for esports in general, I think what has to happen is more of just a simple understanding of the fact that all these little companies are a direct representation to their scene, right? So there's the Call of Duty, there's the League of Legends, there's Dota, there's Counter Strike, Rocket League, like Valorant. There's a bunch of esports scenes, and those bigger ones, they're the ones that are on the forefront, that are just the marketing behemoths. They're out there, everybody knows them. But the little ones, they're the silent voice. They don't realize that when you guys are fighting within your own community, I mean, the COD community is the worst. That's why the COD community is a joke, right? And we're gonna stay a joke until we more touch up. And I can dive into that after I answer the main part. But everyone needs to just act professional, right? If you want to be taken serious, you need to present yourself seriously. If you walk into a business meeting with flip-flops and surfer shorts and a Hawaiian shirt, you really think anyone is going to take you serious? Now, I'm not saying you got to walk in wearing like a $10,000 suit, right? Go take your ass to Kohl's or JC Penney's, like get you a good like $100 suit. You know what I mean? Or go to Men's Warehouse and spend like $100, $200, whatever you can. Put together a cheap suit, right? But present yourself how you want people to look at you and view you. Same as can be said when it comes to these smaller orgs in esports. Act professional, right? You see orgs that will join in and talk shit, right? Now, that's pretty uncommon. It's not very common, but you'll see that. But to me, that's unprofessional, right? Like, don't do that. Why? You're a business and you're doing that. Same deal when it comes to tweeting, right? Orgs can over tweet. I'm not saying you want to just be bland and just be straight to it, but there are some that'll just respond like it's the social media manager's own personal Twitter. That you necessarily don't want to do, right? It doesn't look good. Now, that's my personal opinion. Some may agree, some may disagree. I guess hearsay, it works where it does. But in general, act professional, present yourself with a professional demeanor, and take yourself serious. Have the people who are running those orgs also act professional. Don't just take it and turn it into a Twitter company, right? Turn it into something real. Us gamers always want one thing in life, and that's to just do anything with video games for the rest of our lives and make money from doing it. This is that hub. Like, it's given to you on a fucking platter, and you're just looking at it and you're just like, I don't want it. And you push it away. Dude, yep. What are you doing? Like, you need to do this and turn this into something. So take yourself serious. Launch yourself into marketing. Did I just lose power? Can you guys see me? Am I still here? I'm still here.
I can't see you. I hear you.
Okay. Hold on. Simple fix. Boom, look at that. Let me just I had a feeling that was gonna happen. I apologize. My bad, Michael. My bad. You want to do a little cutscene.
But now, thinking about it as you're like talking, I realized that the esports community is incredibly parallel to the music industry.
Because I was just about to comment on this, so good.
Yeah, because it was always my trouble when I was working when I had a studio and I was helping market guys and stuff like that. They just wanted to be an artist, but they wanted to get paid. I'm like, well, then you have to treat it like a business. And they're like, no, people just like me for me. I'm like, you're asking other people to give you money. Like, now you can work on just your talent, right? You can just become a phenomenal artist, but you still have to take that seriously, right? It's not, oh, I'm just gonna do what I feel and people are going to love me for it. It's like, if you're lucky, but if you want to count on it, you either have to treat it like a skill and become one of the best, or you have to treat it like business and build it as a project. And that was just so hard to tell to people. They're just like, I just want to do this and it should just happen. And to some degree, I assume it'll be probably similar with the esports industry, but it's like for a lot of people, that's going to just be what separates the whatever from the chaff, the wheat from the chaff, or whatever it is.
Yep.
It's like the barrier to entry is, can you treat it seriously? But I feel like for a lot of people, they think it sounds good, but they don't want to do the work.
Yeah. People, one of the greatest phrases I heard in business and marketing and all that is that people vote with their wallets. They vote with their wallets. And so you got to be, in essence, a politician. A politician doesn't always believe the things they say. They say them because they need the majority of people to, put them where they need to go. Now, do not compromise yourself in that way necessarily, but there is a way to be that just attracts the most people, as Trent was pretty much saying. And so it does take self-awareness. Now, the funny thing is, like, if I just say to the normal person, we know a lot of people, but to like just the normal populace, if I say, think of a gamer, they usually think of a male in their teens, 20s, maybe. And it's not a pretty picture often. It's just not usually. So I think there's a stigma to the industry, and I want Trent to talk about it because I feel like you've run into this or have thought about it a little bit. So what do you have to say about
I actually just, wow, Matt, you're kind of killing it with these questions. Dude, yeah, way to go. Dude, okay, so, and here's what's absolutely awesome about this, and this is something that I'm like really passionate about, and like you guys know me like better than anybody, like you guys saw the photos when I was heavy working out, but like this is where we dive into, right? Like that stigma of like a male gamer, for example, how it used to be, you're a little bit bigger, basement dweller, if you will, mom's basement, like you're just playing video games, like you're unemployed, that whole stigma, right? Like had never seen the sun. Well, it was awesome to see that change because I didn't see that fat gamer. Well, I apologize about the fat term. If anyone, I'm not fat phobic or anything. I just want to, for the lack of better terms,
one dude from that South Park episode, Make Love Not Warcraft. Yes. We're all thinking of it. It's
exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yes, Matt, thank you. Yeah, like that's like the perfect example. Like it was a great representation at that time. Now I didn't go and start in that one. I kind of got to miss that train, thankfully. But what came to it was your gamer is just nerdy now, right? They're your typical dweeb, glasses, that didn't help. Scrawny and small, that didn't help, right? Like, those were, some of the categories that were starting to get hit now. And it was like, that's the one that I fell into and that I was growing up with where, you weren't looked at as like the weird kid or anything, but you were looked at like, dude, maybe you should like go for a run or something. I don't know. Like just don't play video games, like get outside, Well, I don't know when, but it was so cool to see everything flipped. Gamers were stepping out and they were just like, what's up? Hitting the gym. There are gamers out there. Now there's controversy around this individual. His name is Doug Sensor Martin. And but he kind of was that smaller guy, like he was slightly a scrawnier kid. He was fitting that narrative, with that scrawny, glasses, nerdy kind of kid. Well, now he's this big jacked up fucking dude. Like gaming aside and his gaming career aside, like he has grown a brand for himself in terms of gaming and fitness, right? He has launched himself in 2 industries. Some may argue 3 because he touched in acting, but no offense, Sensor, that was just Sharknado. Nothing crazy. But like, the man has turned himself into an entirely different man. I mean, this man has gotten a house from fitness and gaming, right? But I would like to think he's inspired some individuals to work out and to do better for themselves and take care of their health. but I have a lot of friends who were in the same boat who are now in the gym all the time, and they're constantly working out, and they're gamers. And now you see gamers who are out there and they're fit. They're fit guys. Like they're fitting an entirely different narrative. People still think of the fat, nerdy kind of kid. And I'm not saying he's stepping out with like a six pack and he's tan and he's got fucking like huge ass muscles, but like he has muscles on him. Like he's got muscles on his bones. Like he's not like a scrawny kid. You know what I mean? He's just in good shape. He takes care of himself, and her, and that's the awesome thing too. Like women have started to come out more, which is awesome. I wish there were more women gamers out there. Like, I mean, like, it's just incredible, like to see the, like, evolve, like the evolution of like the gamers themselves, because they're no longer just men and they're no longer the fat nerdy kind of guys. Like some of these guys, are dating very beautiful women. Censor, maybe you guys have heard of her, but Yannick Garcia, like the famous weather lady from Mexico, like he dated her. You know what I mean? Like gamers are pulling beautiful women. There's just something about it. I guess.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's cool to see it. Like it's that evolution.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. It's a rebranding of sorts.
Yeah. Oh yeah. It's great.
That's awesome. Macro and micro rebranding all along. That's awesome.
So I mean, like in short, it's awesome to see like that stigma, like just being killed. Like people's like look at gamers like, whoa, what? Like, I didn't think you would have been a gamer. I figured you were constantly in the gym. It's like, yeah, I am, but I'm also always at my desk.
Right.
It's like,
was that transition inevitable? That's one of the things I always wonder, because like gaming used to be, I don't know, more related to like computer science, but as games became more, it seemed almost inevitable they would go more mainstream, at least in their appeal. So people seem surprised by it, but to some degree, it's like we don't go out horseback riding, and like the average person just doesn't do the same activities they used to.
Exactly. Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. Right. No. Like, yeah. Absolutely. Yeah. Because your average individual who's not gaming isn't saving all that time, and they're able to go to Egypt and do skydiving, like, and go see Paris all in the same day type deal, right? Like, it's not like they're suddenly living this magical like fairy tale, but that's also where the funny part of it is too. Like my so-called friends in like high school and shit, they would not nag me and pick on me, but just slightly give me a little like playful little shit, like, oh, you gonna game? Yeah, I am. What are you gonna do? You gonna go drink in your parents' barn? Like,
right. Yeah.
I'm doing one thing said for maybe 4 or 5 hours, and you're gonna do one thing for 4 or 5 hours too. You're not doing anything different. Like, take out the specifics. I'm doing one thing and you're doing another thing for the same amount of time.
Absolutely.
Like,
and I mean, to kind of point to that, you talked about, it's like, yeah, a lot more people seem to be gaming and not, skydiving in Egypt or whatever it is you said. And don't land on a pyramid. But that made me think of two things. One, I think statistics comes into play. Michael mentioned that gaming's more accessible overall, because there's different platforms and different kinds of games. An 11-year-old can play Animal Crossing. Well, their 11-year-old sibling they're probably playing COD. I mean, you've met kiddos on COD. They're not supposed to be, but let's be honest.
No.
No, they're playing Minecraft. Get with it. Jeez.
That's true. I'm sorry. Minecraft's for everybody, though. That's just a thing.
Went through my phase recently.
But so there's more gamers, in my opinion. There's just more of them now because it's just way more accessible. And there's more gamers because they're more accessible, and almost as the gaming world gets bigger, the outer world, just the rest of everything is getting smaller and less accessible. There's not really, it used to be like, oh, stop gaming and go play outside. It's like, all right, Mom, should I go to the Target parking lot? Or like, what do you want me to do? Outside is getting smaller. It's harder to exist outside of your home without spending money.
Well, even beyond that, like, it's the latchkey kid thing, right? Like forever, you were just able to wander as a kid.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
you were just in the neighborhood with some friends, but slowly it became like, well, I need to know where you are. It was like, well, it's going to be such a hassle to leave the house. I'm just going to do things in the house I enjoy.
Yep. Yeah. So now I'm
Absolutely.
playing, Playground Simulator instead of.
Yeah. Instead of going to the playground. And guess what? My friends also have the game. It's cross-platform, Mom. Like, I'm playing with
You're still
everybody. Everybody.
That's the thing. It's no longer isolation either. It's much more social now. So it's just the new paradigm, and people kind of
No,
have to get used to
absolutely.
it.
I mean, like, and if I could, just for a little bit too, because like you talk about like how it's just been like an entirely different thing in itself. Some of my best friends I've met through gaming. Like, you know what I mean? And it's nice because if you really do kind of bring it to like a humanitarian level for a minute, right? Why do us gamers get on the game? It's not necessarily just because we want to get on and talk shit and cod and like start teabagging people, right? Like, we're getting on honestly because we had a long night, right? Long week at work, long day at work, like whatever's going on, like in your personal lives. You want to be able to escape reality for a little bit, right? And you meet people who respectfully are going through most likely similar shit, but no one's nagging you about it. Nobody's talking to you about it. You could just play. And then that's when you get to hear the like, dude, you're fucking dog shit. Like, and you get to talk shit a little bit for like a couple minutes and laugh and have fun, and just like your problems kind of go away. And, at first it used to be like when I had these friends on it, like growing up, my mom was like, never tell them your real name. Don't ever tell them who you are. Don't even tell them what state we're in. Now it's just like, I meet this guy and I'm going to name drop him because he's one of my best friends, right? Like Andrew, right? Like, it's magic on Twitter. Him and we linked through a past venture of mine. And I was like, man, this guy's cool. And we hung out like on Discord, just chilling, talking. And I was like, damn, this guy's cool as hell. And then we just kept talking and talking and talking. And then it was maybe because I joined in. Now there was a few months, like, yeah, there was a slight gap in there, but maybe like 4 or 5 months where I had known the guy. And then I hopped on a plane and I flew all the way to Virginia. Dude picked me up from the airport. Like, I was with him for a fucking week. Like, this dude drove me all around the state. Like, we went to New York. Like, I went to New York with this guy, like guy that I had never met before.
I'll be right
one
back.
of the nicest guys. Yeah. One of the nicest guys ever. Right. Like, it's not like how it used to be anymore. Like, I have such good friends through gaming, and it's fucking phenomenal, right? And I see so many people now getting to like meet their friends that they've gamed with for years, and it's just
Absolutely.
like, yo, it's like that hits,
No,
They're
it's great.
pulling
And
on
I mean, gaming's gotten so mainstream that like you meet people like on COD, and COD is intense. I've tried it. I suck at that. Pedophiles can't hang. They're not good enough gamers to like,
No.
Your mom's not going to worry anymore. Like, pedophiles can't hang. Like, it's really just people like you.
Exactly. Yeah. Like, and that's really how it is now. And it's awesome. Like, it's just, I mean, granted, growing up, like when I was gaming, damn, like that. That's like a chapter like that is just like, it's a relic. Like, I can't wait to tell my kids about that shit someday. Like, you think that he's being mean to you? Come here.
I've heard forms
Let
of
me tell you
racism never
what-
uttered before. Yeah.
Exactly. Like, I can't say obviously some of the shit that I've heard, right? But like,
No.
if you coughed on the mic and it was quiet, it was shut the fuck up, you fucking bitch, pussy, virgin. You laugh like a bitch. You cough like a bitch. I bet you play like a bitch. I bet you're a bitch. Like, fuck you, dude. Like, it was just all this. And it wasn't just one person. It was the entire, like, 11 other
The whole
guys.
chat. Yeah.
The entire lobby. And everybody had terrible mics, right? Like, back then. So, like, you couldn't understand half of it anyway. And now when they're all yelling at you, but like, there's one specific guy you can hear, and it's just like, oh, I'm having flashbacks, right? Like, it's just, yeah, it was insane. Like, growing up with that versus growing up with it now, like, I've had some people be like, damn, dude, like, you're ripping on that dude. Like, no, I just grew up with it. Like, get with it. Yeah.
Is that would you consider this a good or a bad thing? Like, should it kind of be dying out? Like, what, or is it part of the culture? You know, that kind of thing. Like, what? Obviously, there's different paradigms with this, but what's your opinion on all that?
My opinion on this is that it's in the past and we had our fun. And the ones who got to experience it and enjoy it are privileged. And it's because now we live in a day and age where if you use someone's pronouns wrong, you're going to get canceled and you're going to have a mob of people hating you for absolutely no reason, right? Like not even knowing you as an individual. So
it's basically it's the same thing, but woke. Like if you say, you know, good job, guy. It's like, that's a she. And then the whole lobby just starts ragging.
I mean, yeah, like that happens from time to time, right? But it's definitely not like it used to be, like at all. It's more of because there's a lot of people who are making content and they're streaming all the time, right? So it's like those people are streaming to their platforms and to however large their audience is. So it's more easily accessible to the world now. And the streamer can also kind of get in trouble for that too, right? Like, but your name, like your gamer tag is now made public, right? Like, and it's out there and people can see that. And all it takes is one person in that chat to be like, I don't like that guy. And they're going to go and they're going to do their little fucking work and they're going to figure out who you are. And then they're going to send the information off to the streamer and they're going to be like, this is the guy that said all that. Like, and then it'll get out there. Like there's so many scenarios where you, the person who is just having fun and talking shit, your life can suddenly be brought into it, like your personal life, like your real life. Like, you know, like people in the gaming like industry know me as Repeat, right? And then like my real world is Trent, right? Like it could be, for example, like people are bringing Trent into Repeat's world and now they're talking to my employers or they're saying stuff to my employers and my family and stuff. Like it, you know what I mean? It's just, it could be horrible. So nowadays it's more like people are just looking out for themselves. Plus swatting has become a thing where you'll just, cops get called on you or SWAT team gets called on you for absolutely no fucking reason. Right. And people's lives are put in danger. So it's like a lot of people are somewhat cautious now with a lot of things that they say. Like as weird as this is going to sound, right? Like you have your thugs in real life and you have your thugs on the internet now. Your thugs on the internet are the ones who will pull your IP and they'll fucking figure out your name and all that just by real quick fucking clicks and types on their keyboard, right? Like they'll pull your information. They'll figure out your family's information, who you work for. Like that's because we live in a digital age, right? And everything's now out there and it's so easily accessible. But like growing up with that stuff, like, you know what I mean? Like I heard people just dropping the N-word with the hard R all the time, you know? And
which is not right to do, but you know,
no, absolutely. No, I'm not condoning, right? But like, because absolutely how it happened was not right, but like, it doesn't mean that it didn't happen, right? It shouldn't have happened from those individuals who were saying it, right? But like, there's no way to grab that information now because nobody had a capture card unless you could afford the HD Hapog, which was at that time, I think it was like a $350 capture card, which was like fucking expensive growing up. Like nobody was going to pay for that, or you had
on being that petty.
Yeah. Like, so, or you had like,
for like more casual stuff, that's League of Legends started losing like a lot of its base because they couldn't get new players because new players would, you know, train, get ready. They would get like as they would get better, they would eventually start making it onto slightly better teams and matches. And then people who had been on the game a lot longer would just tear them to shreds for being bad. They were new. And you saw that with a couple different games where the game community itself just started to shrink and shrink and shrink and shrink because they got a reputation for being toxic with the players. And that's a barrier to entry for your casual people that are like trying to get into stuff.
Oh yeah, absolutely. That's how the COD scene is. Like the COD scene, like the smaller kids are just, and I say smaller kids in the context meaning that like the smaller name individuals, right? Like they're not your big popular individuals. I guess all the kids would say they don't have clout, you know? So because they don't have a name for themselves and stuff, like they will slightly like bash each other and fight with each other on Twitter. And it's like, it's comical because it also ties right back into what Matt asked earlier about what needs to change. And that's one of those things. Like, Stop spewing your fucking problems on Twitter. Stop putting it on the timeline for the world to see. Even if you delete it, somebody could have screenshotted it. They send it to 2 people. Those 2 people send it to another 2 people. It's fucking pyramid scheme, like, or just a pyramid in general, right? It just gets larger at the base. Like, it's gonna go out and it's gonna go around. Don't. If you don't want to escalate things, you try and take things in the DMs, right? And I guess the same thing could have been said about the whole DMs with Goldfield, right? We took it to the DMs. We had no choice. But just keep it off Twitter, right? And most of the time, it's some like small petty shit. It's like, well, so-and-so said this about me during scrims, and this isn't fucking true. And it's like, well, so-and-so said this on the timeline. Like, fuck, get over it.
Yep.
Like, get over it. Like, you're nothing special, and this argument's nothing special. Get over it. For all you AMs out there on the fucking Twitter sphere, stop. You make yourself look dumb.
There's a jazz bassist that's he's a content creator. He's got lots of great stuff on YouTube. He's very smart, and something he talks about in music in particular, but it refers to all of life, is that repetition legitimizes. So the more you talk about shit, the same stuff, it grows, like you said. So it can go from minuscule. It shouldn't matter. You can let it die. But repetition legitimizes. So the more you bring it up, the more you talk about it, it just it snowballs. So and that can be used for good or evil.
I love that.
Yeah.
You know what? And I've, a little off topic, but I've adopted that at work now. Like, with fucking everything. Yeah. Jason and I will literally sit there. Woosah. Remember your pressure points. You know, and we'll just let it go. Woosah.
Think of your blood pressure. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. But, you know, like getting back into it though. Yeah.
I wonder where all the angry nerds are going to go now that they're slowly being moved out of like the anime space, the gaming space, like the ones who want to use that kind of language and just like let out stuff. Oh, and they're losing D&D too. All this stuff you could just be like unhinged and do as a nerd for the, like, I guess, more fringe nerd sphere. Seems like they're getting boxed out into who knows where.
Which
you know, like they're being exiled.
That's something to think about. That is something to think about, because that's how you get incels. That's how you get people so marginalized that they feel victimized, like singled out for it. And it's you know, most of the time I see a need for a rise in accessibility to therapy, to be honest, and just a normalization of therapy. Most people, you know, we go to the doctor to check our blood pressure. We go to the gym to get a little stronger and, you know, work some stuff out. You know, we have our gaming to do what that does. We should probably just normalize getting shit out of our brain and looking at it, you know, in a healthy way. But
conversation where it's like in the relationship where it's like, you know, at some point we'll do relationship counseling. It's like, oh, you think something's wrong? It's like, no, you do it before things go wrong. Like, or like
preventative maintenance.
Yeah, you don't wait till your car starts making noises, because then you probably missed a piece of maintenance.
Like that
shit gets really expensive
lying around. Yes. Cool. No. I do want to touch, you know, real quick though, Matt, on what you said there. Yeah, like about like, you know, just letting things out of your brain in like a healthy way. And I believe I told you about this. But something that I did was like when I went through everything that I went through, and it was just journaling, right? Just writing, right? Like I would, if I didn't have my notebook on me, I would put it in my phone. And if I obviously was like near my notebook, I would prefer to write it in there. And the best single reason for that is because if you're the only individual that knows about it and you don't tell anybody, guess what? Nobody's going to come looking for it, right? So you don't got to worry about anybody like fucking snooping for it and shit. So you can write literally whatever you want, like, and no one's going to see it. It's not an essay. It doesn't have to go to anybody. You can write out of order. I've done it so many times. I would sit there, just be arguing, just getting something out of my head. And then I would stop and I would just be like, this and that, Snickers candy bars, like this and that, you know, and then I would dive right back into it. And then like, or I'd get like a page and a half in, I'd be like, matter of fact, fuck, hold up. You know, I'm coming back to this, you know, and just randomly bring it up for no reason. Like you are in control. Yeah. It is, they're nothing. Nothing's stopping
This
you.
guy right here. I got it.
Yeah.
It's right here. This Ed Hardy piece of shit dragon thing. It is wall to wall ramblings of a madman. But that's not your problem.
Exactly.
So,
Nobody is there to argue with you, right? Like nobody can tell you that you're wrong. Nobody can gaslight you or manipulate your emotions or how you feel. Like you can get everything out. And you don't, I'm not talking about writing poetry, literally like just a rambling notebook. Write whatever you're feeling. Just get it out there. It is such a helpful tip because oftentimes as humans, all we want is truly just to be heard, right? Like we're not looking for somebody to solve all of our problems. We just want somebody that's going to sit there and be like, hey, what's going on in your head? Let it out. And then all you have to do is just sit there. Okay. What? Wow. No. Really? Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
that's where
Oh,
it's
wow.
going.
All you have to do is just give those little affirmations that I'm still paying attention to you. I may not give a fuck about what you're saying, but just keep going. You know, like it is okay. You know, everybody needs to do it. Just write, man. And then if like 2, 3, 4 years down the line and you're in a really healthy state of mind, read that shit. Not to put you in a bad mood and to make you feel depressed, but read it and be like, damn, I was going through that. And be like, shit, you know, and just like, damn, yeah, exactly. Reflect at it, look, just be like, damn. And then there's times where I've read my stuff and I've just been like, dude, like you didn't even finish your fucking thought. Like you didn't even finish your sentence. Like, dude's an idiot. You know what I mean? Like I'll laugh at it now. And then I'm sitting there, I'm like, wow, this is where I was pouring out like my anxiety and depression thoughts.
Yeah.
And now I'm laughing at that stuff. That's called winning.
Wonderful. No, that's good. Mine
Exactly.
revolves around like 3 topics. It's how shitty I am at music, how useless I am with women,
False.
and how fat I am. It's usually those 3. And now I'm like, well, I'm a pretty good musician. I've trimmed down a bit, and I'll get laid once in a while. You know, it's fine.
You know, Matt, I will say this. If you are not on TLC, you ain't fat. All right? You good. You good.
I'll take it.
You good.
That's perfect. Oh,
hell yeah.
No, that's excellent. So like you've touched a little bit on like this interview with you in particular. So you've touched a little bit on your past here and there. You've done other things in different businesses or in esports.
Yep.
You've, you know, gotten shredded at one point. Like you've dangled a couple of carrots because you are an interesting individual, and it's way better to be interesting than anything else, in my opinion. Can you, not to make it too like job interview-ish, but can you tell us a bit about yourself? Can you like start from a certain point and just
We probably could have started there.
But I kind of like the
but he wants to like
working backwards effect.
Yeah. Like he wants to be like, who are you today? And then be like, all right, so let's see where it started.
Yeah, how'd you become?
Yeah.
What made you this
who you
way?
are today? Yeah, who are you? Yeah, no, absolutely. I love it. No, I absolutely love it. So where did it all really start? So, and this is something that will always stick with me forever. So it happened when I was about maybe about maybe 7th grade. 7th grade, I really hit the video games hard. So however old you are in 7th grade, I don't know, like 12.
That's like
12, 13,
13-ish. Yeah.
Around there. So like I was sitting there and I was hardcore into gaming. You know, that's where it all really started. Mainly because I was diagnosed with epilepsy when I was in the 6th grade. And you guys know this because you guys know me on a personal level. And it really took control of my life, right? Like I was really excited because I wanted to do football. I loved football and all my friends at the time were doing it. So I wanted to do football, got diagnosed, that was out the door, right? Gone. So mom wouldn't even let me do track. That was gone. It was no more no more staying up past 9 p.m. It was less like soda and like caffeinated drinks. It was making sure you get like a minimum of 9 hours of sleep. Like, don't overdoing yourself, don't overstress yourself and overwork yourself. So, like, not in a mean and vindictive way, right? But like like the remaining parts of my childhood were slightly robbed, not because of my mother, but right because of the disease I was diagnosed with, and that shit happened. So that's what kind of forced me to stay inside more, because mom was just so worried about me. Like, I couldn't go to the park and just have fun with my friends. I couldn't go around town like just fucking biking and shit. Like, I had to wear a helmet every single day now, like like on a bike. And my mom was like, I have to be able to see you. And I'm like, what? Like, that's the house. Like, I can't leave the house. Like, no, like you can bike around the house type shit. Like, so I mean, it was just like I was forced to do nothing else but game, and that's where it happened. I fell in love with gaming, with Call of Duty specifically. But it all started because I was on YouTube one day. I came across KSX Silencer on YouTube, and he talked about Team Caliber and that project that he was doing. And I was like, what the hell is that? And it was professional Call of Duty. And I was like, whoa, 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 hold on. What the hell is this? And he's just like, yeah, they're going to be going to UMG Atlanta coming up. And this was 2013, so like, obviously, as you can tell, we took a big little leap. But it was 2013, and I was like, that's when I had discovered it. And I came across UMG Atlanta on a Sunday, and I happened to watch the very final match, and that was it. I was like, damn, that sucks. But then they talked a little bit about Black Ops 2 and how it was league play. And I was like, what the hell is league play? And it was like, that's competitive Call of Duty, but that's like what they just did, but on like an amateur level, if you will, like a semi-pro level, and it's thrown on the game. So I loaded up the game, hopped on that, got absolutely shit on. Absolutely. I couldn't use any of my guns because certain things were restricted. I had no idea what was going on. I'm like, what the hell? So I'm going to YouTube. I'm trying to figure out the rules and what's going on. And then I just learned it in the pubs and then the multiplayers, and then jump back into league play, and I'm playing, and, I'm doing good. And I'm just like, not bad, playing again and playing again. And, I'm not terrible at this, and she's like, I'm kind of ish decent. Like, okay, so let me take competing a little bit of serious. So I competed for like a very little bit at the end of Black Ops 2, like on what I would consider an amateur level. And just played, just had so much fun, right? Like doing that. But I obviously wasn't anything. And then Call of Duty Ghost comes around, and I end up getting picked up by this one team for maybe like a few days. It was nothing crazy. I can't remember their name. But then I met this one guy, and he was like, hey, you want to join what was called Invert? And I was like, okay, whatever. Like, on the competitive Call of Duty team. I was like, cool. So like, we had a team, and we were playing in these gamer tournaments at the time. Like, it wasn't game battle. Well, I mean, game battles was out there, but we didn't have money for game battles. So we did gamers tournaments, and we played for credits and shit. So that was fun. And we did that. They didn't really like doing it so much, so they kind of got out of it, but I kept going. And by this time too, my brother was going to like a bunch of anime conventions and shit. So he would go to ones in like Green Bay and ones, in Milwaukee. And I was just like, or he told me, he was like, well, you should come because they have a gaming room and they have like Call of Duty, like LAN. And I was like, holy shit. So I go, and I go with him to, I think it was GeekCon, wherever that is. I think Appleton, Green Bay. I went to GeekCon for the first time, and I went right to the gaming room, and I saw what they had, and they only really had like 2 good Call of Duty stations with like decent monitors, like to play on. So I was just like, well, all right. So I just started doing wagers, right? Like, I just be like, hey, like a couple bucks as I beat you, like $5 as I beat you. You know what I mean? Like, just making something on the side, right? And I thought I was on cloud 9, like racking up like 10, 15 bucks. You know what I mean? I'm like, yeah, I'm fucking earnings, bitch. Like, I'm better than you. So you can imagine me being young at that time, going home and immediately like hopping on and like telling these guys like, yeah, I was playing wagers online against kids. I got this fucking thing at this LAN. like blah blah blah, like I won like money and shit, you know, and it's like I won $30, and then you're telling one guy and it's the fish story, and it's like, yeah, I won like $70, you know, and it's like I'm telling the next guy, yeah, I won $100, you know. No, so like, but just having fun with it. And I told everybody, all my gaming guys, like, holy shit, and then like they finally saw it a little bit more in my gameplay, because that little boost of confidence gives you a little bit of confidence while playing. So I was playing a little bit better than I normally was, and we end up scrimming a team. And then after that, like I kept in contact with that other team as I was with Invert, and then they end up picking me up later on. They end up dropping a guy, and then I joined them. I'm with them for a very little bit before I get dropped again, right? And then I go right back to Invert. I'm just like, I don't know what happened. You know what I mean? Like, I thought I was just subbing in. Next thing you know, they're telling me I'm joining. I'm like, what? Like, I don't know. I'm with Invert, I'm like, what's up, guys? So just playing with them. And then eventually we scrimmed another team, and I had them, like, I had Invert and another team fighting over me, like, which kind of felt good. I was like, oh shit. They're like, well, we want him. Like, he's good. Like, we want repeat. And I was just like, yeah, everybody wants me, and just feeling like I'm like top shit, but I was nothing, compared to the fucking guys out there now. But having fun with it, and I end up joining the other team, like the other kid, and his team was Velocity. So I was on Velocity, and that was fun as hell. We tore it up. We were a good team, but then after a week, like one guy was like, I'm done playing, and that was common for Call of Duty at that time. So just people just up and quitting the same day. But after that, I ended up joining a team called Go Gaming Global. That was awesome. I reached out to them and I was like, yeah, I got a little bit of LAN experience. It's like 1v1 type shit. I was like, yeah, I still got that. And so I ended up scrimming with their team at that time. And the players were myself. It was Shani. The guy's name at the time was Adapt. And then it was, I think it was pronounced Fraggett was his name. So it was us four, and we were a nasty, nasty team. Like, we were up there. We ended up scrimming one of my former teams, and with one of our guys disconnecting, we almost beat them in a 3v4. And then they had the nerve to talk shit afterwards. So yeah, we almost beat you guys. Just remember that if you're watching this. So it was cool. Eventually though, like they end up quitting. Like one guy quit, like Adapt quit, and then Shani was like, well, if he quits, like then I quit, and then Fraggett had another offer. So it was just me on the team. And then Sean was like, well, you could put together a team. So I put together a somewhat nasty team, right? And then Adapt comes back and was just like, yo, he's like, what's up? He's like, what's going on? He's just like, what are you doing? And gets in Sean's ear. And then Sean ends up saying, well, he wants to come back to the team. I'm like, well, I just picked up these guys and we're nasty and I'm not dropping anybody for him. I'm like, I'm sorry, he can be a sub, and then he ends up saying, well, no, hold on, let me talk to him. And then Adapt ends up getting a team, right? He becomes team captain. So there were two teams, and he straight up tells me, like, Sean goes, so he's going to be essentially like team A and you guys are going to be like the B team. And I was like, what? I was like, what the fuck? I just put together this nasty ass team and you're going to label us with the disrespect of a B team. I personally think, like, at that time, because I know he doesn't now, but I think at that time Adapt had like a little bit of like beef with me or just didn't like me or something. But because it wasn't the first time that had happened either. And whatever. So we sit there and I end up leaving with my team and we form our own team. We scrim his team, and I'm pretty sure they beat us in one game and then we beat them in a second game. And then they didn't want to play us anymore. And I'm pretty sure I remember one of them, I don't know who it was, but I'm pretty sure one of them had said, well, we won the first one. That's what really matters. And we were like, the fuck? Like, we're scrimming. Like, we're going to play every S&D. We're going to play every blitz. We're going to play every domination. Like, we're not just playing one game and we're going to bed. So I end up team hopping a bunch like through the rest through Ghost, and afterwards, into Advanced Warfare. I'm sitting there, I'm enjoying myself, I'm having fun. team hopping again. I joined Sean's org again. This time it was called SEC eSports. So I joined SEC, nothing crazy, but I ended up getting dropped for very similar reasons that not going to touch on because it's just like, it's too long. And I really don't care anymore. I just got to let it go. But end up just telling myself, like, you know what, like I haven't been able to find a good team. Like at this point, all I really want is something like from the organization that I'm a part of, like to really be a part of it. Like, and at that time it was a jersey. So I didn't have any jerseys and I just really wanted a jersey. I tried joining a bunch of teams that had jerseys and stuff, even just to be a content creator of some sort. Always got rejected. So I was just sitting there. I was like, whatever. And by this time I started my first job working at a grocery store. And this I will never forget. It was about 8:45 or so. Store closes at 9. I was finishing up scrubbing and I'm just watching the scrubber and I just pop my head up. And I go, yo, I'll get my own fucking jersey. Like, I don't need an org to get me a jersey. I'll create my own org and I'll get my own jersey. And you know what it'll say on the back? Owner, bitch. Like, and I got a job, right? So I'm going to put some money into this. I'm going to, at that time I was partially funding, right? So I had a little bit of money saved up at that time for like a fucking 15, 16-year-old kid. And I am putting this into this esports shit, you know, and I create my first org, Impulse. And I go, okay, you know, and then I'm sitting there and I'm just like, well, I'm going to see what I got to offer, you know, to some of these teams. So I end up reaching out to my first ever team to steal the players, right, from a different org. And I still remember the org name. I'm not going to name drop them, but the owner of the org messaged me and was like, hey, I'd really appreciate it if you didn't contact my players about wanting them to join, blah, blah, blah. And that's when I told them, I said, hold on now. I said, I don't know what they told you, but they probably didn't tell you the full story. I said, so here it is. They saw my tweet about partial funding. They asked me what that meant. I told them that basically means I'm willing to cover team pass, jerseys, and hotel costs. And that's it. And I was just like, okay, you know, so I tell them and they go, oh, wow, that's more than what they're offering us, like a lot more. And I was like, well, hey, I don't know if you guys are under contract or anything, but if you guys want to talk, just reach out. You guys got my Twitter. And they're like, all right, cool. And that was that conversation. And that's why he reached out to me. He was like, what? So then I told him straight up. I said, I can't help the fact that I'm offering something to everyone, including them. And they happen to be the first ones that bite just because they know me. You can't tell them what they can do. I'm not out there saying, come to me, come to me, come to me. Like, fuck them, come to me. You know, no, I wasn't doing that. I wasn't stealing players, right? They saw what I had to offer and they said, well, that could benefit us more than what he's doing for us. So naturally they wanted to come to me, but they didn't. They end up splitting up, I think. So I end up getting some players. I mean, it was nothing crazy, but we at one point, Team Impulse actually had a team house technically. So that was cool. I was 16 years old and my organization had a fucking team house. I'm pretty sure I was like, because I started that when I was technically 15. So I think I was like the youngest like org owner in like Call of Duty history at that time. So that's like really cool, potentially. Well, I'm just with him.
Love it.
Yeah, there you go. Unofficially, right? Unofficially. So we technically had a team house at one point. Things were actually going well, but nothing crazy in the Americas. And then I ended up getting in contact with somebody from Canada. And I was like, oh man, this is getting fun. So I'm sitting there. I'm talking to these guys and they're just like, yeah, whatever, we'll play for you because this is what you're offering us. And I'm just like, perfect, cool. So they're playing for me and these guys are actually pretty damn good. And I'm just like, damn, they end up qualifying for an online league at that time, Impulse does. And I was so excited. And I think at this point, this would have been this Black Ops 3? Yeah, it was Black Ops 3. So Black Ops 3 is when I started making a little bit of noise. And Impulse was doing really well. It was doing great. With the Canadians, they were just winning shit. They qualified, like I said, for that league. And then they end up leaving. And I was like, fuck. So I'm sitting there talking to the league and I'm just like, yo, does the org get the spot or do the players get the spot? Because there's a difference. Does the org own that league spot? Or do the individual players as a whole, as a collective, do they own that league spot? Well, technically it belongs to the players. I'm just like, what? Like, so they can just up and leave at any time and then pipe up contracts, right? Get them to sign. Then they can't do that. Then they can't up and leave. Duh, first experience, right? So that's where it comes from. So I'm just like, all right, boom. Everything at that point forward, I got everything in writing. You need hotel covered? Sign this. Is this a legal binding contract? Nope, this is an agreement between me and you that because I'm paying for this, you're not going to rat out on me and run off and do anything. And if you do, you got to pay me that money back. That's all this is. Okay. People sign away, right? Not understanding that that's still legally binding. Like, I could still take that to court. You could sign with crayon on a napkin and I could take it to court and the judge is going to be like, I mean, you did sign it.
The cursive is terrible. You signed it.
You did sign it. So I was getting everything in writing. It was a great little experience for me. And these Canadian, like I ended up getting another Canadian team and these guys are, somewhat decent. I'm just like, huh. And then they say, hey, there's a LAN in Indianapolis, Indiana that we want to go to. And it was $1,000 at the time that was advertised, $1,000. And these guys were going to come from Canada and play in this. So I bought the team pass. I get the hotel because they told me they only needed one night. So you know me, get everything in writing, right? And I had everything all in writing that said one night. So the tournament went way longer than it was supposed to. We did really good, by the way. We ended up setting a record like for that LAN, like that specific event, because we were the team that had the most amount of points made an uplink. Uplink is basically there's a sphere, like a holographic sphere that is floating in the air, and you take your drone, like your little ball drone, and you can throw it. And if you throw it in there, you get, I think it's 2 points. It's either 1 or 2 points. And then you can either like dunk it, which is just going into the portal, and you either get 2 or 3 points. I think you get 3. I think it's 3 and 2 points. So you do that, and we ended up getting 23 points in uplink on a team. And we sent that team to losers bracket, and they were the hardest team at that event. So we got to send them to losers bracket. Impulse sent them. That was dope. And we were doing very well, but it ended up going on like 18 hours. Like it was hour 18 of the tournament, and my guys were exhausted. Right. So they were just like, no, like we are just like too tired to play anymore type shit. So they ended up just not having enough energy to continue and just give it 110%. So they ended up placing 6th at the event out of, I think, 21 teams. And I think 3 teams didn't show up. So we had our fun. It was great. We placed 6th at the event. It was nothing crazy, but it was great for Impulse at that time. And I was really, really, really liking these guys. I was just like, this is fun. Like these guys know what's up. And some roster changes ended up happening because at that time, the Canadian Call of Duty team was pretty small. And to some respects, it is still slightly small, but it's bigger than it was at that time. So on an amateur level, there were 3 teams that were like really like the top 3 teams, right? Number 1 was constantly juggling between Impulse and Earthroot Gaming. And then the 3rd team was Death Rules. Those were like I said, on an amateur level, those were like some big words in Canada that were doing shit. But myself and Earthroot Gaming, man, we were just, I fucking hate them. Like we were constantly going at it. They were constantly stealing my players, and I was constantly stealing theirs, like going at each other. And finally, I think in what like really pretty much kind of them, like in my opinion, I won, right? Because I kind of shut that shit down real quick. I picked up a team, and this would have been an Advanced Warfare, or no, sorry, Infinite Warfare. This was an Infinite Warfare. I pick up a team for this local event that's happening in a week in Canada. I think the prize pool was like 3,000 Canadian dollars at that time. And I was like, whatever. I was like, I need to be present because my team had like ditched me 2 weeks before the event. So I didn't have a team anymore. They went to Earth Root Gaming. I pick up these random guys. I'm just like, whatever. I'm just like, fuck it. I got to be there with the team, you know? So we announced them. I get jerseys and everything because my jersey provider was like, I'll get them done in no time. Like, it's no issue. Guaranteed they're going to be done. So they get them done. Hold on. I guess let me back up. Pay for the jerseys, get the jerseys like officially ready to be made. And I get a DM from this one guy named Nesty. And he has broken English, right? Because like he's French Canadian. So he goes, yo, your team ass. And I was like, who the fuck is this guy? You know, I was like, well, hold on. I was just like, what? LOL. And he was like, your team trash. And I was just like, okay. And he was, my team better. Like, pick us up. And I go, how good are you guys? Can you guys beat Earth Root Gaming? And they go, yeah, fuck them. Fuck every single one of them. They're trash. We're better. Fuck them. We'll beat them. We'll eliminate them for you.
Sold.
I was just like, all right. So I fucking pick up those guys. I messaged like team one at first because they sucked. Like they had been taking last at every single event. And I was like, I can't have Earth Root Gaming doing that to me. So I can't have them steal the A team. And then I answer with like a Z team, you know? So I end up picking these guys up. I message the jersey provider. I tell him, yo, change of order. Here are all the sizes and addresses that you're shipping to. I'm sorry. He goes, all right, no issues. I'll get them done. He goes, but this is the last change. I go, it is the only change. And they get the jerseys. So we go to this event. We go to this Infinite Warfare event. And I don't know how many teams there were. Maybe at like 20 at this one, maybe a little less, give or take a few. So we're sitting there. And I'm just like, okay, we win our first round. And I'm like, yo, these guys are good. And I just messaged them. You know, I messaged Nesty. Yo, how was that first match? How do you guys feel? He goes, easy. These teams fucking suck. I was like, shit. He goes, we win the event. You just watch. And I go, okay. So I'm sitting there. I'm watching them. You know, I'm watching the stream. It's in French. I have no idea what the fuck they're saying. But I'm watching because I'm supporting my guys. And my guys are on stream and they play in their next round. And they win. I go, okay, cool. We play Earth Root Gaming. Winner officially solidifies top 3. Loser takes 4th. We play against them and we beat them. Nesty and his boys beat them. I was so fucking excited. That's how I knew right then and there, like, I won that shit. You know what I mean? I won the war. You pick up the main team and I pick up a B team and the B team annihilates your A team. There's the door.
Man, that's a history lesson right there. You hire the right mercenaries, you can win anything. It's great.
Exactly. I want that shit in writing, Matt. But end up knocking them out. We play our next one where if we win, we're guaranteed top 2. If we lose, we take 3rd, and we lost, right? But I didn't give a shit. I was like, we just fucking knocked Earth Root Gaming out of the tournament. Fuck them. And we did great. So I was really happy about it. And then it was Nesty and Saxix. Shout out those two. They were the main 2 on the team. I don't remember who the other 2 were, so I do apologize. But those 2 guys were like the main 2 guys. Like I knew like those were them. Like they were the best duo that could ever come. And Archives, who was on Earth Root Gaming, reaches back out to me and be like, yo, would you be interested in like picking our team up? Like we got dropped from Earth Root Gaming, presumably because they lost the event, right? And we knocked them out. So that was awesome. And I was just like, well, we have a full team. I would need to talk to the guys. I was like, but I don't want to replace those 2. I was like, those 2 are staying, like guaranteed. And he goes, well, not everybody has to come. He goes, like, I'm honestly just worried about me, you know? And to his absolute respect, that is absolutely 100% okay. For anybody wondering, like, you should always be thinking of yourself when it comes to those business situations like that, because no one's going to get you further but you. Don't put your fucking fate in someone else's hands. Keep it in yours and do what you got to do to push yourself forward. And that's why Archives is in the position that he's in today, by the way. He kept going when everyone else was quit. So, and it's no offense to them. But I end up talking to the guys. I'm like, yo, would you want to play with Archives? And they're just like, yeah, he good. Like, he's good. We'll play with him. And I was just like, okay, so like, would you drop like this player? Like, who would you drop from? He goes, yeah, we drop him. He's ass. And I was like, okay, you know, like, and then I tell Archives, yeah, they'll play with you. And he goes, well, hold on. Like, Smack wants to play with them. Like, Smack wants to come too. And I go, okay, hold on. I go message them. And I was just like, yeah, Smack wants to come, you know, and goes, yeah, I want to play with Smack. Like, I'll play with Smack. I don't want Archives. And I go, no, you got to get both of them. Like, it's a package. Okay, we'll take both of them. You know, and I was just like, okay, that was fucking easy. Like, so we end up dropping the other two guys. Yeah, exactly. Like, yo, real talk. As long as you like your fucking buyer and your seller both know what they're looking for, you don't have to sell anything. Like, I could sell you a pencil. You just let me know when you're in the market for a pencil. Here's my business card. There you go. But I end up getting Archives and Smack to join Nesty and Sack Sticks, and that team was fucking nasty. I don't know, Matt and Michael, if I showed you guys the videos, but there was a LAN that we ended up having, and we did it against Three Kings in IW, where we came back from, I think it was like 168 in hardpoint, and they were at, I think, 246 at the time. We came back and we ended up winning that hardpoint 250 to like 248. They got 2 points in that entire time, and we hit 250 first. It was insane. I'll have to, if I can find the clip, I'll definitely send it to you guys so you guys can edit that in.
Reaction at the end.
Yeah, okay. So I did show you. Yeah. Oh, yeah. I remember. Yeah. We were on this couch. Yeah. So that happened. That was fucking awesome. Like, my guys were nasty, but Archives was not 18. I think only at that time Nesty was 18, or 18 or older, I should say. I don't think Smack was at that time. No, Smack was, I think.
And were you still like 16, 17 at this point?
Yeah. I was like 16, 17. I was like running technically an international business, right? Like, no license. But so here I am, and I get these guys, and Nesty messages me, and hold on, my fucking earbuds are falling out. So he messages me, and he goes, do you know Sacrifice? And I was just like, no. And he goes, he needs to talk to you. I was like, okay, you know. So I go talk to him. I go talk to Sacrifice, and I'm like, what's up? You know, and he's just like, hey. He's like, so we got invited out to Worlds. It was to World Gaming. And Matt, this is what I think I told you about. He was like, we got invited out to World Gaming. So I was like, what's World Gaming? He was like, it's a $20,000 or $25,000 invitational in Call of Duty top 8 teams. So Canada, come out. I go, shit. Okay. So they end up it's literally like invite only, besides the last spot. That 8th spot is by like online, like an online qualifier, and Sacrifice and his team won it. However, the people on his team, one of them could not travel to the event, and I think 2 of them ended up like quitting or some shit, or something happened where they just didn't want to do it anymore. So you got 1 guy who can't travel and the 2 left, and it's just Sacrifice. And World Gaming is telling him, you need to get a team. You need a team. And they have to be 18 or older. So instinctively, Sacrifice had reached out to Switch, a guy named Switch. And he's just like, yo, he's like, do you want to do this? And he's just like, yeah. So he's like, okay, we got to find 2 more. And he goes, who do you know that's really good that could do this? And he goes, Nesty and Smack. He goes, okay, well, what team are they a part of? And he's like, Team Impulse. So that's when I got in contact with like from Nesty to Sacrifice and Switch. And basically I'm just like, look, Switch is a free agent, right? You kind of picked him up off like the free agents list. This is your team. And I have 2 guys and they're on my team. I have majority say respectfully. You guys are going to go as Team Impulse. You guys are using 2 of my players. You're going to go as Team Impulse, especially when the other third guy is a free agent. So it's technically like a 1-on-2 situation. And I have like 50% of the team. Because all I have to do is sit there and say, no, they can't play. And then you don't have them, right? So it wasn't necessarily blackmail, because like he was definitely okay with it in the end of it. Like he agreed to it. He was like, yeah, it's perfect, whatever, fine. And got them jerseys in time for the event. So we go to Worlds, red carpet, everything out there. I'm just like, holy shit, like this is happening. Like everything was going phenomenal. We ended up taking 8th place, but it was still a phenomenal experience. It was great marketing. We definitely used it for every situation we had to. I mean, we took literal advantage. We were on main stage. We were on camera. There was at least 2,000 or 3,000 people that saw us. Like we played against a pro team. You know, we did pretty well for ourselves. And we also had like the toughest bracket, or I guess the toughest like first round match right off the rip. We were playing seed 1 to seed 8. Like,
Oh,
what do you expect is going to happen? And we're playing the pro team. And there's no losers bracket. There's 8 teams. So we got knocked out pretty early, which was disappointing. But like I said, we still did what we had to do. And then things were going really well. But I had started my freshman year in college now, or I was about to. And I had a business opportunity just dropped on my table, just right there in front of me. And it was to purchase Unite Gaming, you know, the original Unite Gaming from back in Black Ops 2, right? Like I did that. So, well, I didn't do that Black Ops 2 era, but I was the one who did it after. So I ended up buying them. I used financial aid money to buy them. Man, that was the best purchase ever. It was just, to put it like in essence, like because I had learned right from so much, from like the contracts to everything. I had learned so much and I had done it on my own. So I was like, I don't need anybody to run this for me. Like I can do this by myself. All I got to do is pay a graphic designer. Easy. So that's what I was doing. I was running it, and I like I said, I had the opportunity like to get Unite, and I bought it, and I'm sitting there with it, and I'm just like, okay, first step, like business plan. Get the business plan done, get that timeline, if you will, all set in stone. I get my 5-year goals, I get my 10-year goals. You know, my 10-year goal was, you know, to be international. Or no, that was my 5-year, at the end of my 5-year, to be international. So everything starts out and everything just starts coming really quick, because I'm still in contact with Nesty, Sactix, Archives, Smack, and all them, right? So like I reach out to them and I'm just like, I want you guys to come and, you know, let's play in Michigan at the Michigan local. And you guys are going to come and play for me under Unite. And they go, the Unite Gaming, and I go, the Unite Gaming. So we end up getting them apparel just in time for the event. My buddy Alex and I, we drove all the way out there. And out in Farmington Hills, all the way from Green Bay to Farmington Hills, and we went around. So it was like a 9-10 hour drive. It sucked.
Ooh, okay.
But we did it. We went to Michigan, we went to MES, and we got there. It was fucking packed. I thought like we were fucked. Like I thought they were playing. Dude, they weren't even done with the fucking check-in line. Well, me being me and Alex being Alex had connections within MES, and I had a name, right? Like I had Impulse. Like people at that event slightly knew Impulse or not Impulse, sorry, Unite, right? People knew Unite Gaming. So we had the name. People were like, Unite Gaming's here. Like they're competing here. Oh, who are they? Oh, it's like Nesty and the boys. Like, oh shit, like it's Archives. Like that dude was fucking nasty. He still is. So we are waiting in line. Alex goes, nah, fuck this. He goes, finds his caster buddy, Josh. He goes, Josh, like speed this up for us, like get us our pass. He goes, all right, hold on. Josh does his magic, talks to who he's got to talk to. And he goes, I have Unite Gaming at your event right now. And they go, the Unite Gaming? And they go, yes. And they go, and they don't want to wait. So it was just like, all right, hold on. And it was just like intense because they split the line and then we shifted over to another side table. So they had 2 lines that they formed out of 1, but we created a third table just for us. And we get our emails all checked. Everything is good. Players are good. We get the passes all set, get the apparel out to the guys. I got to think 2 out of these 4 guys don't speak a lick of English. One of them is broken English, and the other one speaks English, but is extremely introverted and shy and doesn't want to talk. So you can imagine dialect was like kind of not existent at that time. Plus, we're all strangers to one another. Like we only ever interacted through Twitter. So we're at the event. We get confirmation 112 teams at this local Call of Duty event. That's the size of like a fucking major.
Right.
And they did this in a goddamn little hotel venue room, like a Holiday Inn venue. They got 2 rooms and they fucking took the divider out. That's where they did this event for 112 teams. So it was awesome. Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Friday rolls around and we're finally getting to play at like maybe 11. So we play and we do really good. We end up winning because at that time, those matches were a best of 3. So it was 1st to 2. So we go 2-0. We win our first one 2-0. I'm like, all right, cool. So I'm sitting there on the Twitter. I put out the graphic and shit, and send it. Unite Gaming, round 1 win. Moving on to round 2. We play our next match and we win 2-0. And then I'm like, cool, we're done for the night, And then we get confirmation. Nope, sorry, you guys are the last game of the night. You guys have 1 more game. So we're like, damn, it was like 1 a.m. So we play. And this team, we shit on them so bad. I think the final score was 250 to like 47. They had put up 47 points. We put up 250. We shredded these guys and we beat them 6-1. Now, my like Unite Gaming side of this, like of the table of the station was completely packed. There was where the owner was supposed to be, like I got pushed out. So I'm watching from the losing team's perspective, not even my team. And I'm sitting there watching. Can you imagine how obnoxious I must have been yelling for the enemy team in your ear? I apologize to that dude. Like, and then he ends up looking at me. He goes, "These are your guys?" I was like, "Yeah." He goes, "They're fucking shitting on us." And we end up 6-0ing them. It was either 6-0 or 6-1, but like, it was fucking awesome. And I was like, all right, like we're going to go to bed. So they go, like we go. We wake up Saturday, we play, like we're doing good, we're winning, and we get into our hotel room during a break because we had about a 3 or 4 hour window before our next game. So we're sitting there and we're in our hotel room, and one of the admins, like one of the guys, comes up to our hotel room just to chill with us. And Alex goes, "So what do you think about our guys? Like, what do you think about Unite?" And he just goes, "Yo," he goes, "You guys are gonna win." He was like, we were talking about it, like all the staff was like during the intermission break in the back, and he's like, we were like, "So who's the best team?" We were like, "Who do we think is winning?" And everybody was like, "Unite Gaming is winning 100%. Like they're the Optic Gaming, like if anyone is watching knows Optic Gaming, like they know Optic Gaming is like always the fan favorite, like always to win. So to us, it felt like that. I was like, you got to imagine, right? Like a fucking 18-year-old kid now is like, holy shit, like this is insane. Like I'm doing this. And we ended up taking over the stream on Saturday, Unite did. Because we hadn't been on main stage at all. And I was like, this is bullshit. So I tweeted out, I was like, can you believe they're not putting us on main stage? I was like, we're the biggest attraction here, and I'm just like everybody, and I hop on the Unite one and like on Unite Twitter and I end up tweeting out like everybody, like I want everybody in the MES stream and I want everybody to just start spamming Unite Gaming. Like we want Unite Gaming, just like put Unite on main stage and tweet to them and let them know, get us on main stage. So everyone is doing their job. I'm looking at the stream when there's like 200, 300 people and they're all I'm seeing in the chat is Unite Gaming, put Unite Gaming on main stage, Unite Gaming on main stage. I'm going on Twitter. Twitter's blowing up. Twitter's just like tweeting to to MES. Like their MES's most recent tweet, all their replies and responses were put Unite on main stage, put Unite on main stage. Like it was intense. I end up overhearing the owner and the like production, like the executive production dude, whatever, who was like doing all that shit. I ended up overhearing them talk, and he's saying, yo, he goes, we got to put Unite on main stage next. He goes, I'm so fucking annoyed right now. He's like, they've taken over the stream. Like, they're constantly tweeting to us. Like, we got to put them on main stage. So I'm just like, yo, like, I run over to my guys. Yo, you guys are on main stage next. Get ready. Let's go. Everybody fucking, like, make sure you guys are going to be on camera. Jersey's on. Hair's good. Like, you are looking presentable. It ties back to that very first part. Be presentable. Present yourself how you want to be presented. I made sure my boys were ready. I wanted everybody to know that we were stepping up to something. And if we had all this hype and expectation around us, I needed to make sure that we also looked professional and that we were ready to fucking slay. So we played Royal Flush 7. Shout out them, by the way. Amazing, amazing logo. Let me know if you guys are for sale. I'll buy you guys just for the logo. But so we end up playing against them. We beat them in the first one. Now that you're on main stage, like, and at this point in the tournament, they were now best of 5. So it was first to 3. So we win the first hard point. And I think, by the way, this is World War II at this time. So if anybody wants to fact check us, Codpedia, MES, Farmington Hills, they might be labeled as Detroit, but if it is labeled as Detroit, it's still the Farmington Hills one. There was like 112 teams there. 2018, I think it was, maybe ish, 2017. It's Codpedia. You guys will be fine. So we end up beating them the first game. Second game of Hardpoint, we end up going 5-0. Search and Destroy is first to 6. So we're one round away from winning, and it's 5-0. We're about to be up 2-0 on these guys. They win one round. I'm just like, fuck it. Whatever. Give them 1. They win 2. I'm just like, all right, whatever. Like, you guys are just playing with them. They win 3. I go, all right, enough. Like, end this shit, please. You guys are fucking giving me anxiety. They win 4. I go, anytime now, 1 round. Like, I'm yelling. Like, I'm pissed. And then it goes 5-5. And I go, what the fuck? They just won 5 straight rounds, and we can't even win 1 fucking round. So we end up winning the final round 11. We end up winning. We go up, and I'm like, oh, thank God, you know, like, we didn't choke. We weren't made the laughing stock of the whole fucking event. We win. We go into our game 3. We lose game 3. So map count is 2-1. We go into game 4 and we win game 4. We win 4-1. We're feeling good. It was pretty tight. We move into our next match on Saturday, which was, we weren't even supposed to play. What happened was teams got eliminated faster than they were anticipating in losers bracket. So stations opened up quicker. So they end up saying, hey, you guys are going to play one more man, or one more match, one more round. Or yeah, I guess one more series. So we're just like, what? Like, we shouldn't have to. Like, my guys are tired. Like, let us go. Like, whatever. And then my guys are like, no, like, it's fine, boss. Like, we got this. Like, we'll play. Who are we playing? You guys are playing Armada eSports. Son of a bitch. Armada eSports had guys. They had Jimbola, who is a CDL pro currently. Jimbo was playing. They had Clutch. Clutch is fucking nasty. That's who was also on my team at one point. Clutch. Shout out Clutch. Clutch was on the team. And then I think there were 2 other guys that I'm blanking on. Pharma the God was one of them. And then Heiza he was on Armada. So they end up beating us, and they sent us into losers bracket, where we were like, fuck. Starting in Sunday, we were going into losers now. That's bullshit, because Sunday you play early. Like, I'm talking like 8 a.m. like you're playing. Bullshit. You got to be up at like fucking 7 a.m. then. So we were up early. We had to check out of the hotel. We threw everything in the car. And then we go back into the event. Guys had finished breakfast. They were getting ready to play. They were warming up. They were fine. And we win. Wait. No, sorry. We did not play Armada. Hold on. Let me back up. We didn't play Armada. We played on main stage, and we played a team. What was the team? Shit, I'm blanking on them. But this team was actually a very good team, and I have a lot of respect for them. So we end up losing to them on main stage. I apologize. And then we go into Sunday. And Sunday we played against Armada. All right. And Sunday we ended up losing to Armada. We got knocked out. The picture perfect Cinderella story came at the end. Thankfully, the team that beat us took third. So that made us feel better. Because we were like, well, if we were going to lose to anybody, you know what I mean? But we ended up losing. We took 12 out of was it 12 or 11? I'm going to be humble and say we took 12 out of 112 teams. So we outplaced 100 other teams. I mean, it was insane. It was picture perfect. It couldn't have gone better. I mean, shout out the guys, shout out Nesty, Archives, Smack, and Sack Sticks. You guys are always my boys. You guys know that. So, I mean, that's where that went. And then now the fun stuff that happened with Unite. Man, I expanded Unite at a rapid pace because we had so much momentum just off that one event. And that's what people need to realize when it comes to owning an esport org. If you guys win an event or you guys place really well at an event, you guys need to use that momentum and accelerate your growth, because it feels like this, but quickly it's that. You have to take advantage of it. Yeah.
Was it intuitive to scale? Like, or did you, because you'll get to this, I'm sure, but like you have a business degree. Like you've gone to business school. But was this before that? I'm trying to remember.
Yeah. So I was in college when I was expanding. I was in my second year of college when the expansion begun, and when the expansion was done, I was technically a senior because I did in 3 years, not 4.
So was it intuitive to scale, or did you like find out you had to? Like what was the internal monologue there?
Yeah, that was a part of my business plan. That was actually a part of my 5-year plan, was to expand to international, like into another country, at least 2 other countries, which the plan was Europe and Canada, because I would have had the guys in Canada, and then I would have had a European team through an employee. And then being us in the US, we were still a US based company, right? So like we were still international, and we would have had our 2 teams. So it was like, that was the original plan. But we picked up what we did over in Europe. We did over in Europe. I think we had 2 Call of Duty teams over in Europe, United. And then we had the Canadian guys. We end up picking up so that's 2 countries that we're in right now. Well, technically 3 because of the US. So we're in 3 countries at the moment. And this was like legit right after this event, because Dylan, the foreign ambassador that we had, he was killing it. Like he understood. I was working with another man who had a business degree. That's why it was so smooth, man. Like,
okay.
It went so well because of Dylan. Like, Dylan is an amazing individual. I have nothing but amazing things to say about him. He does what he says he's going to do. So we're over in Europe. We're over in Canada. We're in the US. Then Dylan out of nowhere goes, "Hey, I got a Brazilian Call of Duty team that wants in." I go, "What? Brazil?" He goes, "Yeah." They go, "How the hell did you get that contact?" "Don't worry about it. You want them?" And I go, "What are they asking for?" "Marketing." "That's it?" "Well, and they want some money and stuff, but with the foreign conversion and everything, the US dollar was like, I was spending like $4 or $5 on them. You know what I mean? Like, it was that cheap. It was so nice. So boom, we get in Brazil. Now we're in Brazil. And then here's where it was, right after the Brazil one, where things started getting out of hand. Well, not out of hand in a bad way, out of hand in a good way. Like, I was anticipating the growth, and I was doing it earlier than I should have, because I was off the timeline, but the company also needed it. Like, it needed something to latch onto, because you can't ride that same wave forever. So we needed something else bigger and better to hang on to. So we're doing really well. And we end up, well, hold on, I guess I shouldn't say we were in Europe, right? I should be a little bit more specific. So we had a team in France, and then we had a team that was in London, England. Well, so technically those are the 2 more countries. So 2 plus the US and Canada, then there was Brazil. Okay, so we're up to 5. So we're up to 5 countries that we're in right now, and the goal was only 2. Okay. All right, let's keep going. And then I pick up this one guy, you know, and he's my homie Wiz, you know. But Wiz goes, "Hey man, I got an opportunity here for a new industry, or not a new industry, a new scene within esports." He goes, "It's Rainbow Six." All right, I'm listening. Tells me about Rainbow Six. And he goes, "I can get us a team." He goes, "I'm already in talks with one." I'm like, "Cool." So didn't have to worry about shit because Wiz was going to cover all of it because he was funding that project. So he's funding it, and we get these guys under contract because that's the smart thing to do. So we get them under contract, and then we had a clause added. The clause is that if you guys make the ESL Pro League, your buyout becomes a pro contract, or your contract becomes a pro contract, and your buyout increases. And the buyout went from 1,000 to that one player's contract to 5,000 per one player for the contract. Well, these guys qualify for the major tournament to see if they make the Pro League. So they qualify for that tournament. And these guys were killing it. They ran through everybody. And they end up being the first team to join that qualified in the APAC region. So they qualified for the ESL Pro League. And I was like, holy shit. And then I'm like, yo, holy shit, the clause, like, money, you know? And to the respects, anybody who says that, like, they're doing esports, like, for the love of it and for the passion of it, okay, yeah. That's fine, but that's your hobby. Don't call it your business. Because if it was a business, you'd be trying to capitalize on every money-making opportunity you could. So I'm sitting there thinking to myself, well, we can't afford their salary for the Pro League. So we have to sell them. Oh, I understand what Wiz did now. Lesson learned number 2. Don't try and build players and build amazing things around players anymore, because you can't do that unless you have the money. But get a pro team that has qualified, that's fought through the trenches, and when you can't financially support them, you sell them off. You sell their contracts off, and you make money. And then now you have money to do it all over again. But now you budget. And you just keep doing that shit, you know, and you keep having fun. That was the vision. So that was the vision that we ended up taking after year, I think 4. We shifted, which that's where some things started to go wrong. And that was because my business partner was chasing money, and he wasn't necessarily chasing the community and chasing the culture and chasing esports in general. He was just money, 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 money. And I slowly saw that. So we ended up selling our team off. We ended up selling them off. We got a pretty penny. And then within a few short months, the league ended up folding in on itself. So we got out right when we needed to, because regardless, we would have gone down with that ship if we stayed. So we made our buck and we got out, and it was a nice little hefty amount. And then I was like, okay. But then some of my staff ended up leaving because we lost touch with ourselves, right? We went off the path, and we didn't. What was Unite Gaming at this point? Was it just a money-making operation? Or were we really doing this for the fans, like we initially set out to do, you know, to restore the name and to restore glory? And it was, and I'm enough of a man to admit it, right? Like, it was my ideology that led me to believe that I wasn't doing this for money, right? I let myself, like, I constantly kept telling myself, you're not doing this for money. You're not doing this for money. You're not doing this for money. But then when I met Wiz and he got in my ear and he was like, yo, dog, how much money have you fucking spent? How much have you made? Oh, shit. You know, so quickly, like, I knew I needed to somehow make money off of this. And that's what we ended up doing. We ended up shifting. We ended up losing the Brazil team pretty quick. We ended up losing the Counter-Strike team pretty quick. We had just gotten rid of the Rainbow Six team. Our COD team in London failed to qualify for champs, so we no longer had them. And then our French team also didn't qualify for champs, so we didn't have them anymore. My guys had one tournament, one local at that time in Canada, but there was beef between the players, so they didn't know if they even wanted to play together anymore. So they ended up not going to that event. And then my COD team split, right? Everything just fell apart so quick. and I wasn't more equipped for it, that's something I wish I could go back and fix, because I didn't know how to handle it when it all went wrong. And when it did, I just kind of gave up. I was like, there's nothing I can do. There's always something you can do. Right. I chose to give up. Not cool. And I ended up losing my baby because of it. And then Wiz sold it. Later found out it was underneath me. I didn't know that he had done that without me knowing. And then I never got my cut of the funds. I mean, it sucked, but at the same time, my life was progressing. I mean, I said a lot. Like, I'll let you guys unpack a little bit before chapter 2.
Well, Brian, I have to do a part 2 because I have to edit.
You can. I'm an interesting character, man. Like Matt said, I just have these stories. And it's insane.
Story before Bill was like,
you've had a fucking rise and fall before most people even start.
Yeah, honestly, it crashed pretty hard.
But that's a saying. That's an old adage. Is the master has failed more times than the student has ever tried. Like that's
I should get that tatted on me. God damn.
That 2017 that all happened.
2017 to like 20 because it was just before COVID, I think. Yeah, because I was at Augsburg. Yeah, so it was like just before 2020, maybe 2019ish. Yeah, like 2007 and 2017 to 2020. So 3 years I did it. Oh shit, it wasn't 4. Oh shit, that was a lot. That was a lot quicker than I thought then.
Because I brought up the COD Wikipedia.
Oh, the CODpedia? Yeah.
It shows it disbanded in 2017 with you as the last CEO.
Okay. Yeah. Damn. I did amazing things with that org, man. And it sucks seeing it now because I rejoined after Adventure, but just before touching on that, because I can't leave the one out. You boys know what that one's all about.
Yeah, but we are going to talk about it. We definitely ought to do this second part. Because this will be good.
That's what I'm saying. Are we still going or no? Or are we stopping?
Matt, I know I have to get up early, and my thing is anything over 2 hours is not going to get posted in months because it takes me so long to edit.
Right.
What time is it right now?
Almost 9, 10 to 9.
Oh yeah, we definitely got to get going. Holy shit.
Yeah, I think all three of us have, day jobs to work on in the morning.
Right. Yeah, unfortunately. Damn. Yeah. Okay.
Not for a part 2.
Yeah, I mean, we can do a part 2, like whenever we need to.
I would like that very much because there's more to your story, like a lot more.
Yeah.
Like the stuff that Michael and I actually know about, which is why we invited you in the first place.
Yeah, right. Like you guys got to hear the rise of the empire, if you will. Like you guys got to hear that, and now you guys understand the fall, and now this is like the comeback. So yeah, I think it's a perfect time to transition and to just give it, like we'll have the comeback, with the part 2. I mean, we can do it whenever. You guys just let me know.
All right, sounds good. Sweet.
Yeah, that'd be excellent. Yeah, because there's so much to touch on with like the journey and like the lessons learned and the stuff like you don't know what you don't know. Like so
exactly.
Because you're nowhere near done. You're nowhere near done.
So, we're leaving off in like 2019ish, 2020ish. Like we're pretty much hitting COVID.
Yeah, which
that's about it.
We're an editor, so we can just do the 3-hour video.
Yeah, we could hire one to Fiverr.
Yeah, just hop on. I was gonna say, just hop on Fiverr.
But all right, something to look into. All right, so stay tuned for part 2.
Excellent. Yes. All right. Trent, why don't you, Michael and I have to do post-op stuff real quick. So why don't you hang up for me?
Okay.
And then,